All right, looks like we're going. All right, anybody who's out there, I'm just setting up now. I'm gonna go turn off the AC in 2 seconds here. I'm checking my, trying to get the Discord integration working correctly. And I think, let's see, am I on the live stream? Let's see if this works. Testing from Discord. Doesn't appear to be. Oh yeah, it's working. Yay. Okay. at least it's working on that Discord. I don't know about the rest of them. So yeah, I'll be going live in a second. Let me just hit the record button here, and I'm gonna go shut up the AC in a second. What was the other thing I needed to do? Recording's going. Streaming looks like. Yeah, if you want to call in, I'll have a have a Zoom thing ready to go, and I don't expect it. There's kind of a lot going on today, so we shall see. Let me just check on my stream real quick. Everything's looking good. Okay, why don't I hear anything? Oh, because I don't have my speakers on. That'll do it. Yeah, if you want to call in, I'll have a Zoom thing. I don't have my speakers on. That'll do it. All right, perfect. Okay, so YouTube's working, Facebook is working. I'm assuming Twitch is working. So, welcome to episode 88 of Dropping In at Pipeline Audio, and this one's got to be dedicated to the guy we just lost, right? One of the heroes of, hopefully, your heroes as well, James Randi, the Amazing Randi. This guy was a pretty famous magician. He did like Alice Cooper and all those things back in the day, but where I really know him from is the modern skeptical movement. He was, in a lot of ways, the glue that bound all these different people with very different opinions on subjects together under the guise of critical thinking and skepticism. You'd see James Randi on Penn and Teller's show, which was also dedicated to the same thing. James Randi was famous for having the $1 Million Challenge, where if you could prove the paranormal in some way, you would get $1 million. And, the thing was the people who were up for this test, they were the ones who actually designed the test. So they couldn't blame, when they inevitably failed, they couldn't just blame him. They had agreed to the test, and usually they'd still take it back anyway. I really wish James Randi would have had a no-take-seas, back-seas policy, but that's all right. Nobody ever won that challenge. Sorry, a little burpy. But he was just an amazing person that he just brought so many people together. There's another guy. In fact, I knew about Penn and Teller a little bit. I knew about James Randi a little bit, and my whole life I've been very interested in the debates, creation, evolution, or whatever. But the guy who really brought me to James Randi was the infidel guy, Reginald Finley. He had podcasts before they were calling them podcasts, and he's very, very instrumental to introducing a lot of the world to people that we wouldn't otherwise have known. I mean, very important people: Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, Daniel Dennett. You name them, if they're in the modern science or skeptical movement, and they communicate a lot, they were on Infidels Guy's show. I think he had James Randi on, but regardless whether he did or not, he was always talking about James Randi. And James Randi had a forum called the JREF, or had an organization called the James Randi Education Foundation, and that had been a big part of who we were. I think the forum, everything when James Randi kind of stepped away, everything just turned political, and the whole skeptical and free thought movement kind of just fell off the rails. And I'm sure a lot of the more famous cases of it, but it's kind of crazy to think we didn't really use the term meme until both Reggie Finley, the infidel guy, and James Randi were pushing Richard Dawkins, for instance. It's pretty amazing just how this all came together. And one thing that the Amazing Randi was great at was just knocking out health claims. He was, if you ever heard Mark Crislip, the Quackcast podcast, or I think Quack Watch, things like that. These are all tied somewhere to James Randi. I mean, he was just a guy who really just said, okay, are you making a claim? Let's prove it. And, we learned so much about how to debate, how to see where the burden of proof lies, and how not to just fool yourself. That was one of the things that James Randi was amazing about communicating out there, was magic wasn't about fooling people as much as getting people to fool themselves. And I think you guys see that that's a big part of just about every show that I've done, is when people fool themselves into thinking they hear something sound better when it really wasn't. The whole point of that ABX test, the double-blind test, is to actually test whether or not you hear things. I just want to say with James Randi, we think about the modern skeptical movement. Think of guys like Thunderfoot, DPR Jones, Potholer 54, probably Dark Matter 2525. Those guys are some of those guys are a little bit newer on the scene, but they all, to me, owe a ton to James Randi. You might remember James Randi knocking out Uri Geller and a couple other frauds on the Tonight Show back in the day, and he famously had the Sylvia Brown clock, like how many years has gone by since she promised to take his challenge and would just refuse to. Well, I think one of the greatest things he ever did was when he takes on homeopathy. And homeopathy, to me, it's even less likely than the clock magic and speaker cable magic we have in our audio community. He went before Congress with a bottle of homeopathic sleeping pills and just kept swallowing them as he talked, just to show that there's nothing in there. That should have been when the FDA just really took out so many of these. I mean, it's if you ever go to the pharmacy, you'll see the quack fake products, medical allegedly products, right alongside real products. You're right alongside actual medicine that works. And that was always, that's just dirty. And you would think that James Randi would have taken that out. There actually was a speaker cable challenge on there too. I hope I averted. There was actually a way. I forget what. I'm not even going to give the cable maker I'm not going to even give the cable maker the publicity, but it was like a $60,000 speaker cable or something. And I'd say that there's no way it's going to be superior to just the lamp cord, or zip cord or whatever you get from Home Depot, as long as you made it thick enough. And part of the testing protocol was this guy was going to be able to pick his cables in a blind test. And I wanted to make sure everybody realized that it would be trivially easy to be able to pick out your cable if you really wanted to. You just make the cable messed up, and then you'll hear it. But it's not going to be better. It's not going to test better than flat. There might be noise in the cables and things, but for the most part, a straight cable how are you going to beat it? You can make it less noisy. You could make it, strong enough to handle bigger sources or bigger power sources. But in the end, it's just a speaker cable. It's just a bummer. So it looks like Wikipedia says he died on October 20th this year. It's such a loss. I always thought that after our movements all split up and everything, that James Randi would kind of come back to the forefront and kind of tie us back together, put us back together as a community. I mean, we don't have to get along. There were all sorts of free thinkers in the skeptic community, but now there's enemies. Why do you got to be enemies like that? Like sectarian violence kind of nonsense. Sorry. And to me, we are lucky in that I know a lot of you guys hate him, but whatever. Ethan Weiner, kind of more famous as an acoustician. He loves busting audio myths. Now, he had a thing called the AES Damn Lies Workshop. He's got a bunch of them. If you go to Ethan Weiner's YouTube channel, he has a bunch of actual ways to actually test things. And this is where, look, you guys, a lot of you guys know about my penance, that I do the things I do because I used to believe in magical mic preamps and maybe not magical speaker cables and stuff, but definitely mics and mic preamps and other devices. I didn't really, honestly, even I would test them from time to time, but my confirmation bias or my cognitive dissonance still said that you have to have this Neve mic preamp, otherwise it sounds bad. But when I started actually measuring things, it mattered a lot more to me that things were just flat, rather, if you wanted them to be flat. If you wanted high fidelity, if you want to hear coming out what you put in, it was an important thing to understand the null tests and ABX tests and stuff. But that's why I do the things I do, because I believed in this super ridiculous. Not that it was expensive. It is expensive, but that wasn't the point. It was just there are certain names that you had to have, or it wasn't any good. You'll see it all over forums and stuff. But nowadays I'm kind of more famous for getting in front of a rack of like really expensive mic preamps and then just using the Behringer stuff or whatever. Lately, it's been my Focusrite stuff, but my penance is that I used to tell people that they had to buy that stuff. I worked at a very big studio, and we kind of banked on we had the gear. But it's mostly nonsense. That's why we had how many shows on actually testing these things and seeing exactly what they put out. Ethan is really good on this front. He has a lot of videos on a lot of different types of testing. Plus, he's got a ton on acoustics. So, of course, you're going to want to learn a lot about that from him. See what else I got. I mean, it's just such a loss. So I always thought Ethan Weiner, that's the James Randi of audio. Though, I've been trying to be maybe the Christopher Hitchens of audio. I don't speak as well, but I seem to make people more upset than... Ethan makes a lot of people upset. A lot of marketing shills and nonsense stuff. But that's really where I came to be doing my penance. Thanks to James Randi, I really tested the claims of the audio industry and found for the most part that, even cheapy modern devices are pretty damn good. Some of them are better than what you could have had in the day at all. So, Ethan Weiner, I owe a lot to Ethan Weiner, I owe a lot to James Randi, and I'm trying... This show, in a lot of ways, is my penance for telling you guys that you had to buy all that expensive nonsense. You don't. If you were to look in my room right now, you'd see a rack full of. Let's see, there's an AMEC in there. There's a Neve in there. Those are just on the left-hand side. They don't even have electricity going to them. But if I have people in here who insist that they need that kind of thing, I'll turn it on. Maybe I'll run through them if they really care. But I think it's more of a psychological crutch now. I really just use my Focusrite mic preamps and stuff. But anyway, I'm just rambling. It really sucks that James Randi's gone. This year has taken a lot of people, and I want to say another one is Bob Fuhrer. The guy we called Bob Noxious. I found out recently that he had died, and I hadn't really kept in touch with him. But he was the other engineer at Studio Z back in the day. He had a band called Killbot. I think Congo Shock. Bob was an awesome guy, fellow herper as well. This year it's just taken people out, man. It just sucks. I don't know what exactly. I mean, James Randi was old, but that's just a bummer. Yeah, James Randi, Ethan Weiner, Penn and Teller, Michael Shermer, Reginald Finley, Joe Nickel, and Daniel Dennett. I always get a little sketchy when the philosophers are out, but these people were all super instrumental into why it is that I'm constantly fighting the music industry marketing machine, why I'm constantly fighting people on forums telling you need to buy this or that, especially people who are telling some guy that he can't use a certain pickup in his guitar because it won't sound good because the guitar's mahogany instead of poplar or ash or something. Test it. If you go to Ethan Weiner's AES Damn Lies workshop, you'll learn a ton about how we fool ourselves. Pareidolia, the Texas sharpshooter fallacy. You shoot a bullet at something and then draw the bullseye around it afterwards and say, I meant to do that. Or, the sunk cost. You already paid all this money for this piece of gear, so it must be good. So you just keep pouring more money into it. You keep pushing it. So, just a bummer. Hopefully this year doesn't take any more prominent skeptics. I think we lost DPR Jones this year. Thought I saw a video on that. Thunderfoot's still around. Thunderfoot's doing great videos. No matter how much YouTube tries to throttle him or people try and get him kicked out of the YouTube club or whatever, he's still doing pretty good. So what else do we have? So this is the thing, when people make claims, and like, how many shows have we just talked about where these guys talk that they can, if you can't hear the difference, you must be deaf, and then they can't pick it out themselves. It's why we're always talking about ABX tests, where you have some files, it plays you file A, plays you file B, and you guess which one is which. That's how you can really tell when you're listening. But one of the things is that so much of this stuff, you can null test it ahead of time. You can play one signal versus another out of phase and notice that nothing comes out or very little comes out. That means they're doing the exact same thing. So that's an important part of it. But one thing that I always want to stress, and I keep saying this, and maybe I sound like a stuck record or whatever, but if it manifests in reality, it can be tested. I mean, that's just the way it is. If you can hear it, if something's actually happening, you can test it. You might not know what test to use yet. Like, it's very hard for me to understand certain nonlinear functions like distortions and stuff. I don't know exactly how to test it. I could ABX it, but if you remember, usually when you're talking about the transparency of a device or whatever, you can compare. Does it have the same bandwidth? Like, does it have the same spectrum from low to high as the original signal did? Does it have the same frequency response? Is it like plus 3 dB at 6K, and so was the original? So was the thing you're comparing it with, for instance? Yeah, actually in forums I see people get this wrong all the time, and I don't want to be a pedant, but when I'm talking about bandwidth, I'm talking about the maximum and minimum, so the lowest and highest frequencies that a device can actually pass through. Maybe not correctly, just whether or not it can even address those frequencies, put them in the output, or possibly create them. Now, frequency response to me is it's your ruler flat. Like if you feed it a signal, is it going to turn up or turn down certain frequencies? Like, is it basically, you could think of everything as an equalizer, like a big parametric equalizer or big graphic equalizer, where you put something through a gear and it's the same as pushing up or pulling down certain frequencies. So that's to me, that's more frequency response than bandwidth. There's also noise. There's also distortion. Like I just said, I don't know exactly how to measure nonlinear stuff, but there is a way to measure distortion. That's what I mean by if it manifests, it can be tested. If you're making a claim on, you know which forums I'm talking about probably, and then you say that we can't really tell if that's happening or not, or you say that it's definitely making it better. You just don't know how to measure for it. For the most part, we do know how to measure for it, and so that's why I'm constantly harping on the marketing machine, and especially the people who parrot it. So yeah, rest in peace, James Randi. I mean, you were instrumental to so many of our lives. It's such a bummer to see you gone. Such a bummer. It's hard to put into words, but we're all definitely gonna miss you. The Amazing Randi. So if you don't know who this is, just go to YouTube and type Amazing Randi or James Randi Education Foundation, and you'll be inundated with actual tests. And that's really why I try and harp on the logical fallacies as much as we can. The argument from ignorance, like I said, confirmation bias, appeal to popularity, and just this pareidolia, which I guess is kind of confirmation bias. Anyway, let me move on out of that. I just a bummer about James Randi. I just did we just rewired everything in here. Let's see if I can pull this up. So this, if you're looking, you can see the routing we got. For some reason, I've got noise in my headphones, and it's like that USB wheeze that you hear out of certain interfaces, like the computer's making it. It's actually going out of one interface into a central station, then out to the snake. And I wonder exactly where that noise is coming from. Some of the things are on different grounds, but it doesn't really sound groundy. It has that like wheeze that comes up, especially when you move the mouse, that sound. Some of you guys don't know what I'm talking about. But man, it is driving me bonkers. I gotta find a way. Does anybody else with the central station get a wheeze on it? The thing that's actually generating the audio is a Motu 2408 Mark II from like 1998. So that thing's pretty old. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe its analog outputs are croaking or whatever. But I don't know. I got to put something else in that room. That's kind of sketchy when you think about it. Yeah, I need some other I do have other DAs I should use. I really probably should do that. Maybe I can bypass the central station too. I'm not sure. Anyway, drives me nuts, the damn noise. I had wired it wrong, so like only one speaker was working, and people said, "Oh, something's wrong." So they hit the mono switch on the headphones. So this whole time, I thought these headphones sends that I'd made were working, but people are just listening in mono. So I went to correct that nightmare. So it's always fun doing wiring. It was a good troubleshooting session. A lot of people were around. We had the multimeters out and cable doctors, which I keep forgetting to order the new cable doctor from Behringer. I'm gonna type that in right now. I'm gonna order that from Sweetwater cable checker. Yeah, if anybody out there has a multimeter recommendation for me, not Radio Shack's did. Of course, I would like I'd like a Fluke, but I don't think I can really afford one, and I don't need something that good. The old Radio Shack ones that just beeped, they were great, man. I loved those things. I wish they were still around. Wow, it looks like check it out. If I put in cable tester, there's the Behringer one, the one I was figuring on getting, $38. There's a Mackie one. Since when did Mackie make one? There's a DBX one that looks just like the Mackie to me for way more money. There's another Another Behringer one. Why is the CT200? Boy, a lot of these things look very similar. I never knew there was a Mackie one. Let's take a look at some of these. Okay, so I'm gonna look at the Behringer CT200. It says XLR, speak on, 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, TRS, RCA, RJ45, MIDI, and USB connectors. Wow. You can test all that stuff. Let me see. I'm going to take a look at the pictures. I see Ethernet. I see MIDI cable. Wow. I see an in and out for USB. You'd probably have to adapt this down a lot. But man, this looks excellent. What is the CT100 would test some of this stuff, but not all of it. Oh yeah, that one tested TTs. Look, I haven't used a TT patch bay or TT jack in a very long time, and I'm not really planning on it. I don't really have patch bays in here anymore. I don't know, because back in the day I made everybody's patch bays, right? I was like the Elko king. But yeah, I don't have patch bays anymore. So I don't really need TT. What is this thing? So this says XLR, 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, TRS, TT, ATRS, RCA, and MIDI cables. I'm gonna get the newer one. It's interesting though. So Mackie's got one too. Oh, the Mackie has banana leads for a continuity checker. Wow, man, this is hard to. What do I choose? I mean, maybe I could get them both, but okay. So it looks like it has speak on, MIDI, XLR, 1/4 inch. Oh, I can't believe this thing has a continuity checker though. That is smart. I might actually want this thing. None of the Behringers are going to have that banana plugs, are they? But the Behringer one can do a test tone. That's actually very handy. Does the Mackie one do a test tone? I can't believe it has a test leads on it, but it doesn't look like it does. Makes a tone. This is battery check. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not sure. Maybe this picks which thing you're testing. Let's see. Yeah, this Mackie one looks cool. I love having those probes, but I can. Maybe I just get the Behringer one. It's I really like it to have the tone. Does the the new one has the tone. Let's see. So there was a page on the gear page where they were asking. Somebody had mentioned me. They're wondering if the ASIO drivers were just as good on Mac or PC. And we had a lot of shows on this, but it turned out that the original poster was using one interface on the PC and a totally different type of interface on his Mac. So it wasn't really an apples to apples comparison. But one of the things is, I think you guys remember I did the round trip latency tests, and it seemed like you could always get a little bit lower round trip latency on PC than Mac. And sometimes this is not fair. Like in case of the Behringer XR18 or the Behringer X32 or the Midas M32. Was that?
Do we lock up or no?
No, that's fine. I'll take care.
Fine.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah. So the X32 drivers on the PC, you can actually go in there and change like your safety buffer settings, not just the advertised buffers. Hopefully you know the difference between the reported latency and the actual latency. So the round trip latency is what we actually test by sending a signal through and seeing how long it takes to come out the other end. That's very different than the reported latency. The reported latency is just what your device is showing to your DAW or whatever. And there's usually hidden safety buffers that make that not very realistic. So in the case of that, the Mac drivers didn't really let you do all that much on the X32 series stuff. So the Windows one was faster, but I have a feeling if you could take out the safety buffer on the Mac the same way, they'd probably be about the same. But now Jim Roseberry, who along with Vin Curgliano is the kind of the guy I trust on everything that comes to drivers and audio interfaces and stuff. He's saying that that you can get Thunderbolt working okay on Windows. I'm not recommending you use Thunderbolt on Windows, but it was an interesting thing of what he was saying. So he says, I'm not an Apple fan, but their Thunderbolt 3 to Thunderbolt 2 adapters work fine in every condition. We've tested many different tower and laptop configurations. Seems to be that he thinks Thunderbolt works. Now, I don't care, because until RME starts pushing me that I need Thunderbolt, I'm going to just use whatever RME's got. That's who I trust more than anybody else when it comes to actually building drivers is RME, without questions. Jim also went on to talk about the difference between the new AMD, is that what they're called? Yeah, AMD processors, like the Ryzen, versus the new Intels. And this is something that's been pretty consistent that we've found. When you're talking about low latency performance and running a bunch of plugins at low latencies, it's not so much about the number of cores you have as the ultimate clock speed. And the Intel's new things still have a higher clock speed as far as I can tell. And that's what he's saying. If you really want to work at low latencies, the Intel 109 10900K, however you want to say that, is what he's recommending right now. I wonder just how crazy much money that is. So I wonder if I could put it on this motherboard. That would be awesome. He talked a lot more about laptops and how they are in production. So if you want, go to the gear page and look in the recording live sound area. And the thread is called, Are All Interface ASIO Drivers Created Equal Across OS? And there's a lot of information in there from Jim Roseberry. And I keep trying to get him on the show. I keep missing him. Hopefully one of these days we're gonna be together on here. Hopefully one of these days we'll actually be together somewhere, all of us. It would be nice. What else did I have today? Okay. So the reason this is going to be a short show is today I have, we're going to be doing some streaming for a Halloween show. I'm going to have bands in here by themselves, isolated from everybody. They're going to be in there playing. And when I do my streams, I'm actually normally running at a low enough latency that you guys can watch the stream of the entire thing, like 32 active mics or whatever. And it's low enough latency that if they're out there and need to hear themselves in the headphones or whatever, they can. And, how many times we talked about routing, but, I go to OBS and I go to the Discord and I do all this stuff. So tonight I'll be streaming as usual. I don't know if it's going to be on the AIX DSP channel or on the Pipeline Audio channel. Might be on both. I don't know. But we'll be streaming bands all night. And then some like Hawaii Association of Twitch Streamers or something is going to be restreaming my stream for a couple of the bands that hang around at the school. And so that's going to be cool. So if you guys want, please actually tune in tonight, Halloween night. Check out YouTube Pipeline Audio or YouTube or Twitch Pipeline Audio, any of those places. And I'm sure you'll find it. If you're on Facebook, you'll find it on the AIX DSP page. So, man, streaming is still very tricky for me. But lately, I've gotten able to use the phone as an input for it, which is working awesome. And I can't believe how good the phones actually look. Let's see, Kevin Shelley, you want to bring? Oh yeah. If you're listening locally, around 5:00 or so, I'm going to pull the PA speakers out into the parking lot, and if you guys want to come by, please do. Like I said, we're going to be socially distanced and safe about it, but please feel free to come on by. Let me just got to answer. Let me just tell them. So yeah, if you're around tonight, hopefully please watch the stream tonight. If you're listening now, you'll be able to check it out. I'll have some links on my page to exactly where this is going to go. I just wrote it down. Let me find it. twitch.tv/Twitch Hawaii. And there'll be like digital costume contests. You'll be seeing my band stream. I'm going to hop up in vMix in just a second here as soon as this podcast's over. But I still have a lot of streaming troubles. And if you can help me with some of the streaming stuff, especially getting Discord to integrate correctly, let me know. And I'd really like to talk to you about it because I am very confused. What was the next thing? Sorry for saying I'm trying to get like This Week in Virology and just get mad at myself if I say or So the other thing is, oh man, okay, so I don't know, maybe we'll do a lot more on this later on, but the whole Guitar Center situation kind of scaring me. There's a lot of stuff I've needed over the last few months that I just can't get from Guitar Center, but it turns out it's not really just Guitar Center. We've talked about this before, but used instrument or even crappy karaoke mics or whatever, the prices have gone up insane. It's hard to get used stuff right now at all. And the shelves at these major music retailers, so many of them are bare. Like Guitar Center shelves look bare. Sweetwater seems to have most of what I asked for, but even then, there's a lot of things I wasn't able to get. So I don't know. I'll tell you that this year, since the Backstreet Boys reunion tour happened, so many music companies are making a killing. I mean, I know people are buying our software. Focusrite keeps telling me that they keep selling out of their interfaces. I actually needed a 4i4 for home and couldn't get one. We talked about before. I had a Focusrite Scarlett Octoprix Dynamic fail on me. So I sent that one in for repair, and after that I ordered another one, so I'd always have two. I'd have a backup. But they didn't even have that. We thought they had it, but it disappeared into the ether somehow. So yeah, that is some scary stuff. They're like shelves I'm telling you, shelves are bare. It's an amazing situation. So I'm surprised if Guitar Center's really going bankrupt, like everybody's saying. But this has been several times over the last few years. It seems like they were going to go bankrupt. But to sell everything you got so quickly, like people are buying gear as soon as it hits the shelves. It's absolutely insane. How is Guitar Center not? This is like their golden ticket to opportunity to recover. I mean, they should be doing great. 1 second. I'm going to give myself some air. Okay. So I'm surprised the Guitar Center isn't doing excellent this year. I mean, it seems like a lot of the music stores are. I know some of our mom and pops here aren't doing so good, but they didn't have that kind of inventory. But even them, it seems like they're selling out. I know a lot of people hate Guitar Center, but in certain areas, like where I am, we do have one good mom and pop very close to me. But for the most part, the local stores were a nightmare. I mean, they're abusive, didn't have much stuff, definitely didn't know anything. They were not competent to answer questions. And instead of, just like Guitar Center, when I used to say, I don't know is the right answer if you don't know. Don't just make crap up. But we had one with like the whole lanyard thing, like they pretend like they're big shots at NAMM or something when you go into their guitar store and they're walking around with their lanyards and stuff. Like, get out of here. I love Guitar Center. We've gotten in huge fights with particular Guitar Center managers before, but I love Guitar Center. I hope they keep going, especially here. Maybe they're real bad everywhere else, but they are awesome for Hawaii. So yeah, hopefully I think Guitar Center is able to find me another one, but it was open box. I'm kind of scared, but hopefully mine gets back to Focusrite and then I'll end up with this spare. But we just did those two articles on different 8-channel to ADAT mic preamps. So, there's not all that much out there. The Focusrite stuff's real good. The other one that really seemed to be for me is the PreSonus Digimax DP88, I think it's called. That's another 8-channel one, but just like the Focusrite Claret, which also I couldn't get from Guitar Center. Everything is out, but those seem to be the three for me. I know the Art Tube Opto 8, a lot of people had a lot of praises for it. The crazy thing is that my 896 Mark III is actually doing an awesome job. That's what I'm talking through right now. But it's being my D to A and my last 8 channels of A to D and mic preamps. So yeah, hopefully that's coming. So the other day, for the first time, finally, I had to film a whiteboard. And I just had a nightmare of a time getting the shadows right and everything. And somebody recommended getting a document camera. So I ordered one off of Amazon. We'll see how that thing works. But in the meantime, I also saw that Jacob Hansen used a Intuos, it was Wacom drawing tablets. He used that as his mouse for his Pro Tools or whatever. And so I went and got a little Intuos, the cheap one tablet, the smallest one they had. And I was having a hard time using it with Reaper. So any of you guys out there that actually use these Wacom tablets or something similar in Reaper, let me know, because I would like to know how you have it set up. But I have been practicing writing, and like they say, it makes you look like you're a kindergartner again with the way you write. But I've been practicing writing on it, and I actually like it. I wonder if I can slow it down. I might be able to use it the same way as I do in like my regular Reaper stuff. It's a little bit too touchy right now, or maybe it's not fine enough or something. But because I was having a lot of trouble double clicking and stuff. But if you do use one of these Wacom tablets or whatever in Reaper, let me know, because I really want some help on the settings and stuff. It seems like I can use it just fine for doing whiteboards, which is the main thing. So that's awesome. So thank you to whoever told me to try that out, and thank you to Jacob Hansen for showing how to do that. Anyway, and finally, I hear there's a Glenn Fricker doing some science video coming out very soon. I think it was supposed to come out yesterday. Maybe it'll come out today. But I have got to get to streaming. I got to hand this stream off to what did I say it was? Twitch TV. Oh, man, these guys need to make a flyer. Oh, they do have a flyer. That's right. But it's a little digital flyer. Twitch.tv/Twitch Hawaii. So get on there, or like I say, get on Twitch Pipeline Audio, YouTube Pipeline Audio, Facebook AIX DSP, and we should be streaming from there. And I will see you guys later. I'm gonna turn this off for now. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. If I don't see you on my stream tonight, tell all your friends, get on that stream, get on that stream, get on that stream.